Thanks for being in our class. And I've said you'd like to learn how to make some quick cash, and we're going to do that. And I'm going to show you how to do that with what we call an option. An option, okay? So how do you make some quick cash using an option? This would be a very simple way to do it. It's a program that I used a lot when I was getting started. And it's amazing when you start thinking about it, how many people do not own the stuff that they sell. Okay. Airbnb does not own the real estate, but they put people together and they get a commission for putting people together. Uber does not own the cars, but they have all kinds of cars. They use the software to put people together and they get an override on all that stuff. They have that. Bookstores do not own the books sitting in that bookstore. They just sell them. And so the publisher puts them in there, and then the bookseller tries to sell them. When they sell them, then they send them a check, but they don't buy them in advance. They just control it. They have an option to be able to sell it. Marriott Hotels does not own the real estate. They rent the building basically on a monthly, yearly basis, and they re-rent out the rooms on a nightly basis. Pretty amazing when you think about that. And the same is true with real estate. Now, I'm going to go to the whiteboard here. And when we talk about that, we want to figure out how to make some quick cash. But I'm going to show you one little technique that you can use for your business or for real estate. And, when we talk about the 5 steps and with the 5 F's, there's 5 F's right there. You need to find good deals. Only about 3% of all the deals out there fit our criteria. The other 97% don't. And I've worked with guys doing $100 million deals. And it's the same number, 1 to 3%. Number 2 is you need to figure out how to fund it or control it. That's the biggie. Control it is number 2. Number 3 is to fix it. What's wrong with it? And it could be the property or it could be the seller. And then you're either going to flip it or you're going to farm it. You're going to flip it for some quick cash or you're going to farm it. Now, I don't care if this is real estate or business or stuff on Amazon or eBay. I love real estate because you can control a whole bunch of real estate without very much. And I'm just going to show you a couple of things that I did. And the big thing here is I want you to kind of get is the you need to figure out how to control it without owning it. So I'll tell you about one of the little properties I did years and years ago. And I'm just going to use an even number because it's easy for you to be able to multiply by 5, 10, whatever it is, wherever you live in the world. I just want you to get the concept of it. And so for this example, I'm just going to use 100,000 because you can 5 times that, you can 3 times that, you can divide it in half, whatever it is. But the property was worth about 130 to 100. It was the value. And I was going to be able to buy it for 100. It didn't need much fix up. The seller had bought it at a foreclosure sale. He didn't even live there. He lived in California. To this day, I've still never met the guy. And he had it up for sale and he bought it at a foreclosure and then he had it up for sale. And I approached him. I said, I'd like to buy the property. And I wrote him an offer. The offer was for $100,000. But the offer said that there's a couple of things. Number one, that we would close it in 90 days. Sometimes I get as much as up to 120 days. 90 days, most likely 60, but all the way up to that I could roll it and get another 90 days plus 30 if I needed it. For as much as 120 days. I want the right to be able to go and fix it up because there's problems with it. It was ugly. It needed a paint job on the outside of the house. It needed a paint job on the inside of the house. And we needed to put some water on the grass because the grass was dying because nobody lived there. And it was kind of ugly. And so it says, I want to be able to go and fix it up. And he gave me the right to be able to do that. and I want to be able to get your money sometime in the next 90 to 120 days. I might have it as soon as 60 days. I might have it as soon as 30 days. Then I went in there and literally we put water on it, water on the grass. We cleaned it up, got rid of a bunch of crap that was around there, just cleaned up the junk, got rid of the junk. We painted it, which was very, I just painted it with my wife. We painted it and we painted it on the inside. So we didn't make a big difference. We took the kitchen, which was this ugly color, and we made it an off-white or a cream color. So we made it an off-white or a cream color because people would walk in there and they'd see this ugly green and they would go, I don't want this house. It's got ugly green kitchen and bathroom. So we made it a color that didn't offend anybody. And then they walk in there and say, I love this kitchen. Maybe I'll paint it blue. And then we don't care what they painted, but that's how we did it. The big thing was that I controlled it. I had my purchase price, and it was cheaper for me to simply go in there and turn the water on, clear out the junk, paint the inside of it. We also did the outside because I'd done this a lot and I knew what I could get out of it. And I'd never actually owned it. I wrote an offer. The offer got accepted. Inside that offer, it gave me the right to be able to go in and fix it up with a delayed closing. So the closing would be right here. And if for some reason I couldn't get the money, I could just hand him back the keys and he'd have a cleaned up house. So there's not much downside to him. Okay. Because I was going to fix this problem. And I found it as soon as I got it, I started advertising it to sell it. And I had a list of buyers that were interested in my houses. So I had a buyer's list. And first thing I did is I reached out to all of them, says, I've got this little property. It's $130,000. It's just been painted, just fixed up. I might even have given it to him for a little bit less than that. I might have given it for 120. The value was higher. And they started looking at the property, and then they came in with new money. They came in and says, well, we'd like to buy it off of you for 120. So I took my offer plus the new offer to what we use as a title company or attorney, depending on where you do it. And I took them the two offers, and then I let these guys do the paperwork. Basically, I had an option, the right to be able to buy it at a certain price. I had an option. And with that option, I could sell that option. And that's basically what I did. One of the things that we would have done on this is that we would have created some financing with it. So one is, in this case, guy had to come in with cash. A lot of times we would buy properties that had existing financing. There's already a loan on the property. So I didn't have to go get new financing. So we would for in this example, let's say it was $100,000 for easy math. And let's say that there was a $90,000 loan on it. Well, we only had to deal with the $10,000. So the new buyer had to come in. Let's say that we sold, that's our option was that, and we sold it for 120. The new buyer would have to come in with 30,000, and then they would take over the $90,000 loan and just take it over and start making payments on it. And the 10,000 would go for the down, and the other 20,000 would go to me. Now, where are you going to learn this stuff? Where are you going to learn some of this stuff? Well, there's some great material and great places to go on the website itself. So I'm going to take you there and show you some wonderful resources that you can do this stuff. And I learned this stuff with my dad. I learned it from Robert Allen. I learned it from all kinds of folks. Okay, so let's go here to the website. So here we are back to the Success and Money Foundation website. And let's go to the the free books. Let's see if we can find it in free books and downloads. Let's go to the free books and let's scroll on down. This is one of my, let's see if I can find it. The Nothing Down Offer book. This is one of my favorite books ever, written by Robert Allen's brother, Richard, who recently passed away. But you click on it, and this is 50 nothing down techniques, 50 nothing down techniques, and how they did it. What was the paperwork like? And it tells all the story about it. And so here's 50 different techniques. So here's the deal right there. So here's one deal right here, the ultimate paper out, which we used a lot, and how they found it, how they negotiated it. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. Sorry. So this is the deal that they did. And again, just add zeros, divide it, multiply it. It's the percentages that are important. And it talks about the deal itself. And this is the paperwork. This is what they wrote when they wrote the offer. And if you'll go study this book, it'll come up with 50 techniques. And I used this first technique a lot. There's 50 of them, and I learned them because I wanted more tools in my tool box. But I only used a handful of them that I used over and over and over and over again. So that's kind of the place that you can learn it. That's a wonderful one that you can learn from. The second place that I would say to go with wonderful materials, you can study successful people right here. And let's go down to Robert Allen, and a lot of his materials are all found right here. So his materials are all right here, and all these classes are all available. There's books, there's a spiritual book there. There's some money books and stuff like that that are just wonderful. And so that's an easy place to find a lot of stuff on real estate is under Bob. And of course, you can see also come here to the Expanded Success and Money Habits, which is 2.8. And you can come down here because there's the 7 habits. Well, step number 6, number 6 is multiple streams with big businesses and real estate. So let's scroll down to number 6, add real estate. So this is all right there, and you earn money. Gosh, imagine that. You earn money from going to those classes. So there's multiple streams of income. Great to understand the concept. There's real estate. And so this stuff is right here in real estate. And of course, big business. That's all step number 6. That's habit number 6 to be able to go through. So that's an easy way to do it, guys. There's all kinds of ways to do this. People are doing it. You just, you open your eyes, you hang out with different people, you see what they're doing, and you see these patterns over and over and over and over again. And little houses, 3% of them fit our criteria. Well, $100 million apartment complexes, $30 million apartment complexes, they will literally analyze 100 or 200 of them and pick one. So that's how it works, guys. And that's how it works for you. Make a difference, make it happen. Remember that every life